Good evening, everybody. Rubik's Master here with another War Commander video. This one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of tracking along with my progression, I am going to do a Basics for Beginners video, which is a little weird seeing as I'm only level 13, but I have learned a lot in my first 10 levels and would like to put the information out there so that other beginners can avoid making my mistakes, which sometimes waste valuable resources. Because when you're under rank 10, it is definitely hard to get steel. And also because I'm trying to get some friends involved in this game, and that way I can just direct them towards this video to learn everything I've learned. So, starting out, it's just going to be a little bit of discussion. And it's going to be War Commander versus Clash of Clans. And I am discussing this because I'm sure most people that are trying this game are coming from or have played to a degree in the past Clash of Clans. I know I did. I switched from the original War Commander on the computer to Clash of Clans when I got a smartphone and left Clash of Clans quite a while ago. And now I'm back to War Commander. So there's a lot of misconceptions people can have about this game and its mechanics if they are used to Clash of Clans. One of the biggest ones being troops and platoons. So in Clash of Clans, you build troops, whatever you want to do with them. You can develop certain attack strategies, whatever. You build your platoon, your army, I believe it's called. You build your army, and you just dump them into the enemy base, trying to be as strategic as possible, of course, and let them do their thing. If they die, they die. If they don't die, they don't die. And you have to build an entire army all over again to do another attack. This game is very different. So we're going to go down here to Army, because this is where you go to build an attacking force. So as you can see, down at the bottom, Platoon Alpha. You start out with one platoon available. I have upgraded my capacity once. I believe the initial capacity is 500. Each time you upgrade it, it increases the capacity by 500. You can unlock multiple platoons. But to focus on what you do with your initial platoon, instead of building different forces like Rifleman, Machine Gunner, and light vehicles, these are all basically, you just choose your unit like you do with Barracks or Dark Barracks. But instead of building them and then those units automatically being in your army to attack, once you build a unit, you have that unit forever. So I have a little bit of steel, so let's show this. I will build a Rifleman for 1,000 steel, which, as you can see, my resource counter being 23,000 and going up a little bit at a time, 1,000 steel is actually quite a lot for a very basic unit. But that's not a big deal. As you can see, we have it in our reserves. The Rifleman card has a ×1 at the bottom. Now, if I go to my unit at the bottom, I can select individual cards, and so I select that one, and I hit subtract, and it takes a unit out of the platoon. I hit add, and it adds a card to that slot. As you can see, on this platoon, I have 5 slots for different units. I have one of them taken up by Rhinos, 2 of them taken up by Riflemen, 1 of them taken up by a Machine Gunner, and 1 of them taken up by S13s. So with 2 Riflemen being in different slots, the way this works, if I want to add a Rifleman to a different slot, I just select that slot and add a unit. That easy. So probably the biggest difference between this and Clash of Clans is when you do an attack, your forces can die, of course, like normal. Your forces die. But you don't have to build all new forces. You come back, or in your next attack, you'll see a little bar that highlights that says repair. And it costs oil to repair. So this is going to get right into the resources differences between War Commander and Clash of Clans. In War Commander, you have gold and elixir. Yeah, gold and elixir. And different buildings or functions require different resources to build. In this game, all your buildings, at least so far, are built by steel. It takes steel to upgrade everything. Oh, can't upgrade that one. Anyway, so it takes steel to build all buildings, upgrade all buildings. It takes steel to upgrade all your units. It takes steel to do literally everything except repair your units. That is what oil is for. So, let's see here. All right. That's that for resources. For attacks are vastly different. Let's run through one really quickly. Trying to keep the loading screens to a minimum here because there's a lot of information to run over. So, and the loading screens in this game can get a little long. So I don't want to drag this out. I'm not going to do a complete attack on this mission. I'm just going to do it as an example. So, as I said, in Clash of Clans, when you deploy your troops, you just hold your finger down and deploy all your units, and they go about and attack the nearest target that is their target. Like barbarians attack the nearest whatever, archers attack the nearest whatever, giants attack the nearest defense structure, all that good stuff. Not so in this game. So let's see what we have to attack here. So we're in the scouting phase. There's not a time limit on scouting in this game. So you can click on things and see what they are. We got a machine gun, level 1. We have a couple infantry units. So we have 3 machine gun towers and infantry. That's it. So this is a campaign mission. And in campaign missions, you are restricted in the areas you can spawn. So we have 2 options here. Let's press attack and go at it. Yeah, whatever, Ruby. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Stop doing that. Anyway, so select all units, turn AI off. This is something you're always going to want to do. Theoretically, you could just dumbfire all your units with AI on and see what happens. But don't do that. So we're going to deploy all units and destroy this guy right here before he does any real damage to me, hopefully. All right. So now to troop movement. As you can see, the biggest difference between Clash of Clans and War Commander is that you can control your units. So down here, each of these squads you can select individually and command individually to move, attack, all that good stuff. You can you can select multiple squads at one time by using more than one finger. It is a little bit hard, but you can select 4 squads using 4 different fingers. So in this example, we'll get, we're not going to get into what all these individual troops do because that is addressed in a different video, but tanks are your figurative tanks. They don't do a lot of damage, but they have a lot of health. So we're going to put them out in front with an individual command, select all units, and attack that target. So the turret will start attacking my tank first, and my other weaker units will not be affected and can deal their larger damage per second to destroy the tower. And that is how this progresses. That's the gist of combat. There's a little bit more depth and strategy the further you go, like luring out defending units that are mobile away from towers and destroying them out of range of the towers. There's air units you can deploy. But all that, as I said, is discussed in other videos specifically geared towards unit management. We are just doing the basics. And that is it for attacks. So, second thing I want to talk about is base progression. And this is the big thing that got me. Okay, please load. In most games like this, like Clash of Clans, I have found it the best strategy to have your, what's it called? I don't know. And this is the command center. Have your command center at a certain level and upgrade everything else to the max level before you upgrade your command center again. So I did that all the way up till now, and I regret it. I'll tell you why. So, defense below command center level 3 is pointless. You have 3 available defense platforms. You can use either machine guns or a mortar, and you can use the power plant to build 1 transformer, which does a speed boost of 50% to adjacent units. And that's it. And I was going to tell you that's not enough. If that's all you have, you are going to get run over no matter what you do by every base attack you come under. You're going to get wrecked every time. So, you want to rush that command center level 3 to get your other towers. Now, it's been a day and a half since I did this base layout, and I've really wanted people to attack me so that I could show what this works against, what it doesn't, and just how good of a base layout it is, but no one has attacked me. So, for what that's worth, I'm just going to assume that that means this base layout works. People don't want to attack me. And the only reason I have this base layout is because of my command center level 3. Level 3 gave me another defense platform, another wall, and another mine. Come on, click on it. Another minefield, which is not letting me click on. There it is. Okay. So the next thing about base progression is resources. We've already discussed what resources do. Your steel is used for literally everything except repairing units. Thus, right off the bat, you have a lot higher capacity for steel than you do for oil. Now, you may be tempted to think that steel, therefore, is the most important resource, and you need to upgrade that resource as much as you possibly can. That is false, because the only way you get steel is by attacking. And when you attack, even if you attack the weakest of bases, you will then need to spend oil to repair your platoon. So oil is the most important resource because it allows you to harvest steel. Oh, come on. I hate how easy it is to move units, but it does make base layout really easy. Okay, and resources, in my opinion, you could flip defense progression and resource progression, but I believe resource progression is far more important than base progression, because if you get all your resources to max level, that allows you to then have the available resources to upgrade all your buildings, including your defenses. I keep doing that. That just gets on my nerves. Okay, and level progression. You level up with anything you upgrade. Let's see if I can find an upgradable building. I think my wall is upgradable. Yes. So when I click on upgrade, it pulls up. You can see it takes 20,000 steel to upgrade, increases the health by 1,600. Up at the top, you see level 2 to level 3 and XP 160. That means I will get 160 experience points when I level this, when I upgrade that building, and that goes towards my overall level. That also applies to upgrading units. Alright, so my machine gunner has an available upgrade. I click on it, hit promote. If I promote it to level 2, I get 40 experience points. So just by building, here you go, platoon damage, 120 oil. Which you can see now how much that is, seeing as the only thing that got damaged was one tank a very little bit. So repairs can get very expensive. You need that oil. Yeah, so as you level up your resources and your defenses and then all your peripheral buildings, you will naturally level up. What you want to rush to is level 10. So with level 10 and Command Center level 3, you can take full advantage of this building, Global Operations, which allows you to build FOBs. Allows you to build FOBs. The one you want is Mining Station. So, we're going to attack. Once you reach level 10, you can deploy into the world map. I did another video dropping, I think it was War Commander 6, dropping into the world map for the first time. Where I did drop into the world for the first time, I thought there was only one deploy point in the one sector I went to. But once you reach level 10, you unlock a couple different sectors. So there's 2 down here. As you can see, there's a couple sectors in Spain. That one level 14 to 27, one level 24 to 37, one level 46 to 65. But you can also go up. So the sector you spawn in by default, if you don't go through this, is Bordeaux. And since a lot of people just go through there, that sector is way overpopulated. Some of the drop zones you almost just can't get out of, and you spawn in and your base is defeated and you have to spawn in again. So I spawned in here. Enter zone. Okay, so in the old War Commander on the world map, you had resource depots that you could conquer and put a defending platoon in, and they would harvest resources. And they would harvest resources indefinitely, as long as you held it. In this, resource depots spawn in, I think it's every 2 hours. So if you aren't level 10, haven't built that building that you get with Command Center level 3, you cannot place resource collectors, which I have 2 right now on steel, getting me, I don't know, we'll just say 2 steel per second. Pretty nice. So the way that works, we can zoom out and you can kind of see up here, these are thorium depots, and down here, steel depots. In their base mode, steel depots are held by rogue factions. You have to destroy a rogue faction in order to build a FOB on that resource tile. So that is really the only way to get passive steel production. Your base production is fairly high, but it's only like, I think mine only gives me like 20,000-ish a day maybe. And on attacks on player bases, realistically you're only going to get between 4,000 and 6,000 steel per attack. So this has all been about level progression. You need to reach that level 10 with that Command Center level 3 to build the Global Operations building in order to conquer the map, conquer those resource tiles, and get that extra steel. Okay, so we have subject is a more in-depth view of attacks. We already did a demonstration of how attacks work. When you attack player bases, you will see something set up similar to mine. A very common setup is that all the turrets are arranged in the nook of this rock, right here, and the base is spread out around it. Because as you can see, the rock, you can't build in it, and units cannot travel through it, so it creates kind of a natural defensive wall. We already talked about platoon arrangement and how to deploy a platoon, how to control individual groups of units. Real quick, we're going to talk about strategies against each tower. We know this is fast and furious, but I'm trying to get this video as short as possible. So, starting out, if the command center is level 1 or 2, you will only be facing either machine gun turrets or howitzers. Sorry, not mortars, howitzers. So machine gun turrets are obviously the most basic unit. They can attack ground and air units and are super effective against infantry and very light air units. They don't do well against tanks, but they deal sustained damage. Howitzers actually deal very, very light damage, but deal it over a very large area. So when paired with machine gun turrets, they reduce the overall time to kill an entire platoon. Because let's see how much damage he deals. So, he only does 57 damage per second, but that's 57 damage per unit. So if he hits 5 units, he's doing over 250 damage. But in reality, if your platoon is bunched up, he's probably hitting closer to 20 units. So, I mean, do the math. Damage to the overall platoon is super high and reduces the machine gun turret's time to kill on each individual unit. When you upgrade your command center to level 3, you unlock the Railgun, which is a charge up time, massive damage to one unit kind of gun. Basically, it's a tank buster. That's all it's supposed to do. So the way to counter these towers, the machine gun is really simple. You just do like I did in the attack earlier, you put your tanks in front to absorb damage and assault it with all of your higher damage per second units behind your tanks. To defeat a mortar, your infantry move too slow, so it's more efficient to use your tanks or your technical vehicles to go inside the range of the howitzer and destroy it. If you're attacking bases below command center level 3, or bases that don't have railguns, so let's say this railgun was another machine gun turret, your best strategy to defeat this base would be to rush in, destroy the transformer that gives my turrets a speed boost, and then you're inside the range of the howitzer. So you don't want to focus on the howitzer, you want to focus on the other machine gun turrets, taking them out one by one, and then deal with the howitzer. I've thrown a wrench in the works, though, with my railgun because So the railgun, if it's by itself, the best strategy to defeat that is with units like the S-13 that are fast and deal higher damage per second. You target the turret, the S-13s run up, launch their first volley of rockets, and then you turn the S-13s right around and run away before the turret finishes its charge, and just keep doing that over and over. The way my turrets are positioned, those units cannot do that without being hit by at least my howitzer, but they will be hit probably by this machine gun turret as well. So that's a quick overview of the towers, what they do, strategies to defeat them. To defeat my base, my guess is you would just have to come in with several heavy vehicles. So like 3 tanks, a few S-13s would probably be able to do it. But like I said, nobody's tried yet, so I guess people assume the casualty for reward on my base is not high enough. Alright, in attacks. Okay, so like I said, when you attack enemy bases, the most resources you're probably going to get off of a practical base to attack is 4,000 to 6,000. Every once in a while, you might get really lucky and get a 10k base that's relatively easy to crack. On a related note, unlike Clash of Clans, where you attack a base and if it has exposed resource producers, you just attack the resources and forget the rest, in this game, to keep any resources you plunder, you must destroy the base at least 70%, which throws a wrench into the works. Because, as far as base percentage goes, your command center and your defense platforms are valued very highly in that percent. So to get 70% on a base, you have to destroy the command center and one defense tower or a few defense towers. It gets hard. So, sometimes that is not the easiest way to get resources. The easiest way to get resources is to pay attention to your missions. Always check your missions. Always, always, always. So as you can see, coming in, you have 4 missions that don't go away until you complete them, but once you complete them, they are replaced by another mission. And then there's a dynamic objective that cycles every 2 hours. As you can see, the one I have now is really nice. It's destroy 5 enemy barracks, reward of 16,000 steel. That's a lot. So I got on earlier today, and I cycled through 3 dynamic rewards. Oh, side note, it cycles through every 2 hours, but if you complete the current dynamic objective, it is instantly replaced by another. So I came in, I logged on, and I had an objective to destroy, I think it was, it was this one, destroy 5 enemy barracks. But the reward was 15,000 instead of 16,000. I don't know what that was about. So I did it, got 16,000. The next one was destroy 3 enemy war factories for 5,000. And then the next one was destroy 5 enemy embassies for another 10,000. So I got 35,000 steel in 15 minutes just by paying attention to my missions. Some of them don't pay out. There was one, the one after that whole spiel was I had to destroy 5 enemy barricades and it only gave me like 1,000 steel. That's not productive. Like, I have to go in range of enemy defenses to take out barricades. But war factories, barracks, and embassies, very few people actually defend those buildings, so if you're okay with accepting a loss of reputation, you can just attack a base, destroy the one building, leave. Do that 5 times, you get the reward. That is the fastest way to get to get resources. Every time you log in, you should be checking that dynamic objective. Because otherwise, you're going to attack 4 bases, maybe get 20,000 steel, and you'll be out of oil to replenish your platoons. Whereas if your missions are just to destroy single buildings, you may not have to repair your platoons at all, and you come out with 35,000 steel like I did. Okay. The fourth and final thing I want to discuss is the world map, which won't take long because we've already hit on it in a couple of our other topics. The world map is really where it's all supposed to go. Obviously, it has campaign missions, it has matchmaking, the exact same way that Clash of Clans did. But where the real magic is supposed to happen is the world map. War zones. So, as I said, I'm not going to go through there because it's been freezing for me. So I'm not going to go through the map. I have to go through war zones. We've already discussed dropping in. When you initially press map, you'll be taken to one particular sector. You have to install... You have to build that one building before you can access war zones. Once you access war zones, you can pick the sector you want to drop into. You drop in, like we discussed. And you capture resource depots, which is the most important feature of the world map, is the resource depots. And we already discussed how to do that. So rogue factions... we'll discuss those. So rogue factions are all over the place. You can see... Oh, there are more. Okay. So, you can see all these yellow things are rogue factions. All the red ones are enemy... Well, not enemy, just other players. And clicking on them gives you a lot of information about what you can get from them. Rewards 3,400, reputation 250, and it shows what kind of footlockers you can get. But the rogue factions are kind of interesting. They are not... Kixeye needs to do a little balancing on these guys because the reward versus effort is not very good. You get 4,000 steel, which isn't a lot, and you could get a briefcase. Woohoo. But what they are good for is trying out different strategies. If you get a new unit and don't know exactly how it works, or you want to try out a different platoon setup, anything like that, you should come to the world map first and attack different rogue factions. So as you can see, there's different outposts. There's light vehicle outposts, fixed wing outposts, helicopter outposts, and somewhere around here, there we go, heavy vehicle outposts. So you can try out any manner of vehicle. If you get a unit that's supposed to be good against vehicles and you want to see just how good it is, attack a rogue faction of the kind that will help you see what you need to see. There are also strongholds, which I will be honest, I don't know a ton about. Reward is 16,000. I have seen on the world map a lot of people grouping around one, so I would assume it's a stronger base that takes multiple attacks to crack, and therefore alliances have to work together to try and get someone a good, to, try and help out one of their lesser members to get more resources. And this one gives you a crate, which is pretty awesome. That's an awesome loot drop. Yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk about, really. Oh, shoot. We're going to hit on one last thing that is probably one of the most important things and will save the noobs in this game the most amount of resources, which is different units, what they do, and what to build. Because you can waste a lot of resources building units. So the rest of this we can all do looking at the army section. Okay, so when you start out, you just have the rifleman. I don't know if you have the PK. You may unlock the PK as part of your training tutorial thing. And you have the rhino. So after you complete the tutorial, at least, you will have those 3 vehicles. Now, if the tutorial makes you build a PK, that's cool. Whatever. Do not build one if you don't have to. Do not do it. Just don't. It costs 4,000 steel, which for anyone under the rank of 10 is a lot. It is. It's a lot. Don't do it. They don't do anything. They have 105 damage per second, and this is at level 2, which is less than 2 riflemen. 2 riflemen take up 10 less space and deal more damage. PKs, you may say, oh, well, the PK has 2,400 health. That doesn't matter, because 2,400 isn't much. A machine gun turret will destroy those guys. You might as well have 2 tanks and a ton of infantry behind it. Your infantry are your best damage per second, per capacity used units. They just are. Don't use PKs. Now, soon on, you should unlock S13s. S13s are cool because of their high speed, high damage per second, health doesn't matter. So tanks don't deal a lot of damage. They are seriously just there to absorb damage. Yeah, 7,000 health. So, I'm not getting into the gross details with this because I have a very in-depth video about these units somewhere else. All I'm trying to say to you is don't build a PK. It's a waste. An absolute waste. Don't do it. Yeah. Some people I see choose to build like 3 rhinos and 3 PKs, and that's all cool. Your rhinos deal the health and deal a little bit of damage. Your S13s deal a lot of damage and have a mediocre amount of health. I choose to include infantry because, like I said, nothing beats infantry's damage per second per capacity used. I am trying to switch over to machine gunners because, as discussed in my other video, machine gunners are vastly superior to riflemen in every way, except that they cost a butt ton more to make. Yeah, so that's the basics of the units that you will be getting right off the bat. Don't build PKs, pay attention to your damage per second, don't assume that a vehicle is going to be stronger than an infantry unit. Just be smart with your platoon build. Your rhinos are going to be your front runners. Everything else, you shouldn't pay attention to health at all. You should be looking at damage per second. And that is really that. That's it. So in this video should be about everything you need to know to start this game and get to level 10. It should save you the most amount of resources. You should be able to do it much faster than I did. Much faster. Honestly, it didn't take me all that long. I think I've been playing this game for 2 weeks now, maybe? Maybe not even. But yeah, y'all should be able to do it a lot faster. Another little key, if you have the money to spend, each time you upgrade your command center, it will offer you a $5 bonus box thing that gives you a crate and 500 gold. If you have the money, that is a tremendous deal. It gives you a lot more upgrade cards, and it gives you 500 gold, which allows you to upgrade things faster, and the cards all deal with unit upgrades, so that gives you more to work on before your next command center upgrade. So right now, I only bought one. I bought the one for command center level 3, and it's going to give me, once I get all these units to their max level, I will be able to work on getting those units leveled up before I move on to the next command center level, which will allow me to stay in the lower level sector I'm in a bit longer, which ideally is a good thing. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Something else. Yeah, all right. Give me one moment. Could have sworn there was something else. Nope, that's it. Alrighty. Until next time, have an awesome day.